folks? Welcome to this evening's episode of Porunga Palace Podcast. And this is episode 3. We have made it 3 episodes in, and I'm kind of excited for it. Mainly because this evening I had a actual locals event that popped off. As you know, last Sunday, we did not have enough people to have it go off. But last week's episode was pretty good just because of the sheer fact I was able to go over Draft Box 5 cards and, some of my thoughts on some must-have product, or not product, but it is a must-have product, but must-have cards for that set. But this evening, I'll be covering my locals event. I played Mono Black Buu, which is, it wasn't my deck, it was my boy Brandon's deck that was there. I did not get my cards in for Android 13, which I had in full intentions of playing this evening. So with that, I had to borrow a deck once again, but I should have my cards by Friday, so I'll be able to play like Sunday. Hopefully, if they come in Friday, play Android 13 and go over that coverage for you. But Majin Buu, it's a solid deck. I actually like the deck. I wish I would have invested in it earlier. That way I would have it now, because now it's not like real pricey, but it's definitely shot up since the popularity of the deck. And the deck's just good. Like, as far for aggro purposes, like, it's just a good deck. I really enjoy playing it, mainly because it's pretty straightforward in what you can do. First time I played it, I had like a difficulty just learning it because I just didn't know how it ran. But I picked it up fairly easily the first time me playing it, and this evening was really easy, just because I already knew how to play the deck. But my first matchup was against my boy Brandon, who let me borrow the deck. He was playing Surge Coup, and he did get one match on me. First match, I just out-aggroed him. He wasn't able to disrupt my chain, very often in the deck. I hardly saw any counter plays. And when I did see him when he did see them against me, they were just kind of a bit too late, in my opinion. So I took game 1, and I didn't sideboard. I actually didn't sideboard all night because with that deck, I don't feel like you absolutely need the sideboard. I feel like it just can outright win just in general without a sideboard. So game 2, in game 2, he was able to disrupt me. Vegeta the Cruel is a bitch, and so is it's the green, I can't remember the card off the top of my head. It's the green-blue extra counterplay card that pretty much does the same thing as Vegeta the Cruel, minus, I think, warping a card. He saw those. He saw Vegeta the Cruel's. Champa the Trickster came into play. He just had all the right answers. He just was able to disrupt my Buu chain enough to just take the game from me there in game 2. There just wasn't much I could do. And then we went into game 3, and I was just able to out-aggro him, and I felt like I went a little bit wide because I did have the Hachiak that plays from the drop area by putting 3 from your drop on the bottom of your deck in any order and being able to play it for 3 instead of 5. And since you want to discard in Buu, that's just a great card to either combo with or discard to your leader's ability. So I was able to aggro him, and I felt like go wide enough to just take the game. So I took that game. And then game 2, I played against my boy Willoughby, and he was playing the absolute spice, the big brain doctor. You know him, Dr. Euro. And this deck was actually problemsome. I lost this match. Game 1, he was able to get rid of my 2-drops with the field spell, I believe. Yes, the field spell got rid of my 2-drops, and I unfortunately had to leave like a 2-drop on the field without being able to go into a 4-drop or anything, because I just didn't have any in my drop. but I played it anyways, just because like, well, I might as well get value out of this, because if I just put it out there and not swing with it and wait to see if I can see a 4-drop, I'm not getting much value out of it because it is an aggro deck, and I just kind of want to swing, just swing every turn. But he was able to disrupt my chains like just so much, and then he's able to use the 3-drop to eat stuff away from my drop area into his field spell. And the blocker, the 3-drop blocker. So this deck just has a lot of drop area hate, and Buu kind of lives in its drop area pretty much. He was able to, I wasn't able to quite get as many chains off as I would want, and so we're still going over the first game. Sorry, I just had a brain fart there. So he was just able to stop my chains, get rid of my drop area, and was ultimately able to get he was able to get the 7-drop boss monster for Dr. Rowe out of me and just completely wipe me out. Just with that one card, just wiped me out. Just had enough out there under his field spell and with the 7-drop to just absolutely crush me with it. So we went into game two. Game two, I was able to just really aggro him. He couldn't quite stop my chains, my Buu chain enough to flat out not have me aggro him out. And plus, I saw my double strikers when I needed to, like the double strike Champa, which is just like early game. It's so great in this deck in the early game because you want to get that early game damage, and just being able to go all in every swing is just phenomenal. The deck did what it was supposed to do. Game two, he was able to Mafuba one of my chains, one of the 2-drops, but I was able to reoccur it, with the extra card by paying 2 and sending that from my drop to my warp and reoccurring a 2-drop. So ultimately, I was just able to take the game just out of pure aggression. And then game three was a battle because he ended up decking me out. Like, that's how far we got into it. Like, had I did have a Hatchiak in the drop area. I probably could have reoccurred that and put 3 in there because it went into my next. I swung in because I was able to bring out a Turtles, put because I was at 3 in the deck, and that put me at 5. Had I reoccurred a Hatchiak, that would have put 3 more in my drop, and then at the end of my turn when I drew my 5, I wouldn't have drew out. But since I didn't do that because I just didn't look in my drop area at the time, I drew my 5 cards and I decked myself out, and he got game 3. That was a battle. Big brain deck was absolutely phenomenal. Willoughby played it excellently, and he ended up winning the tournament with that deck. I don't think he lost. I don't think he lost a round all night. I know he lost games, but I don't think he lost a round. So he's a great deck builder, and it was just like the spice to bring tonight. And game 3, I played against Gogeta Ramp, which that player, he's a fairly new player. He's still trying to learn the deck very well, but that deck can actually put me in a corner if they play it right. If they hold back, able to because they can run so many negates. Plus they can get card advantage and just, combo out. And plus they have Bean, which is really good against me for sometimes, just because sometimes I'm swinging and I'm only comboing. Sometimes especially like on my Buu chains, since I have no cards in hand, and like the first 3 swings are generally just 15 no combos for the most part, and they can just bean for a turn, and that kind of shuts me off swinging with those. But because he's a newer player and he's still trying to figure the deck out and figure out how the deck is supposed to flow, when playing against aggression, he just kind of made some misplays and was just, because of that, he just ended up losing the game. Game 2, he did 10-drop Fumi, though, and that kind of had me scared because I pretty much can't do anything, and it was double strike, and I had to take the double strike damage from that just because it was a 30k, and if I didn't have enough to combo because my super combos were shut off at that point. So I took the double strike, and I think if he would have been able to probably get 1 or 2 more swings on me there that I just couldn't outright combo out of, he probably would have had me. So it definitely has a chance to put me on the ropes when it comes to that deck, Gogeta ramp. And plus the leader ability, it can just get rid of my stuff, if I don't go into a 6-drop or anything, which if you're big brain player, not meaning Dr. Duro, but a smart player, you're going to go into the 6-drop and it can't be hit by that. But ultimately, I got the match just because I was able to survive that turn, go into my next turn, and probably have like 4 to 6 like swings going in, and he was sitting at like 2 or 3 life come that point. But regardless, it was a good match. He's a learning player, and he's learning the deck better. He just got to play more. The more you play, the better you get at the game. That's just how it works. And that was this evening's local tournament. I had a really fun time. I love it when we are able to get a tournament going. And 8 is like a solid number for us, which is, I don't know if it's sad to say, but 8's a solid number for us to get. And I wish we had them every Sunday, because Sundays used to be our day. Wednesdays seem like have converted to our days of having people show up, and I wish both days were like that. I wish Sundays were like that too, because I want this game to flourish in my area, and I'm hoping it gets to that point. With Draftbox 5 coming, I feel like we'll have I don't think we'll be getting our draft boxes on time, probably along with like everyone, seeing as shipping's going to be an issue with this new, well, not new, but with the coronavirus coming out, or coronavirus running rampant in out of the country. It's probably stopping a lot of shipments from coming in. And ultimately, we're just not going to see our product in time for that, which is really sad, because I would like to get some drafts in, which we will eventually, just probably not when the vast majority of the rest of the country does, unless there's just a big, big outage when it comes to everyone in the country not getting their shipments of their draft boxes. But I'm sure that's not the case. Excuse me, needed to take a drink. But I feel like the bigger stores that get vast amounts of quantity of product for this game will get theirs before anyone else, and then it's going to be a chain of events of pretty much the crap rolling down the hill as far as people getting their products. But I'm super excited for Draftbox 5 to come out, just for the new cards it's bringing. As you know, last episode I went over those must-haves, and yellow seems like it's going to be like just super oppressive, just because it's going to be tapping down your opponent's energy, tapping down your opponent's battle cards, and it has stuff to Inorg's barrier with all this. Yellow's probably going to be like the new control for this set, which yellow's always been a controlling color as it is, but now it's just getting like hyper control, like control on a next level type of thing. And it's really exciting to see. And I'm hoping to pull some of them money cards, if not to play, just to sell out there and, make some profit off of that. That way I can take that and invest it into some decks. That way I can try to have like more than just one deck, which technically I don't even have one deck right now, because the one deck I've been trying to build, the budget Android 13 I've been trying to build, I haven't received all the cards for. But I'm super excited to get those cards in, because I'm super excited to just have my own deck, have a deck I can just play and not have to worry about borrowing decks. I appreciate everyone who has let me borrow the deck. My boys Trey and Cody and Brandon and Willoughby, they've been fantastic for just letting me borrow decks to play, to bring content to this podcast. I really enjoyed doing this podcast. And just bringing my personal experience to anyone that listens to this. I like bringing it to the community. There's not enough of this in the community that happens, in my opinion. Yeah, there are podcasts out there, but I mean, how consistent are they? I don't think anyone's been as consistent as I have been, considering I've only been doing this consistently for like maybe a week or two now, but that's what I plan. I plan on doing this, every time I have a locals, and even if I don't have a locals pop off, I'm doing research, trying to bring topics to discuss to the podcast, and I feel like just a personal look of Dragon Ball Super from an average Joe player probably gives some insight to people that that have the same views as I do for the game. Just an average Joe player playing the game and, being the person who can't, really play the meta decks. Even though I have played meta decks, they're not my meta decks. They're meta decks that people have put their time and money into. I wish I had the money to do that, because I would definitely do it. But it's always a work in progress, and that's what I feel any new player or someone who can't really put forth that much into this game financially should just look at doing. Always working to progress, have a goal you want to set for yourself on what deck you want, and just always work towards that. And I know the archetypes and the meta is always changing, but for the most part, there are decks that will stay meta relevant that you can look at towards working towards. And, that's that's the advice I give to people. Keep working towards your goals. Keep playing the game to get better, and just don't get discouraged if you're not doing as well as you feel like you can be. I'm not a top player by any means. I would say I'm an average player at best, but I do the best with what I have available to me, and that's what everyone should be aiming towards. Do the best with what you have available to you, and always progress to get better, because this game can really be fun if you look at it from that aspect. And if you see yourself always getting better at the game, you'll just get you'll get more out of it than you would if you just stay on the negative and never try to improve. Because even if you're losing, if you can take something from that loss and improve upon it, you've already won, in my opinion. And I think that's where we're going to wrap it up for this evening. I know it's a shorter podcast, but I don't aim for these to be very long. I'm glad the other ones have been the times like 40 minutes plus, but they're not all always going to be that way. This week, shorter one, but it'll be a short listen for anyone who has taken the time out to listen to this or watched it on YouTube. And I want to give a shout out to anyone who has listened to this on Stitcher or Buzzsprout, and anyone who has subscribed and viewed this on YouTube. Your support of just doing that is so greatly appreciated, and I hope this continues to grow. Regardless, I love doing this, and I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. And until the next one, you guys take care, and I hope you have a good rest of your week. Have a good one.